I think one of the ways that media can preach the gospel is that we can capture their homeland and their people and their language, but show them a different future or a different possibility of what life could look like if Jesus came and transformed it.
We always want to be able to share a film that's not only culturally relevant, but celebrates the culture, its language, its beauty, its arts. And I think we did a pretty good job of that with this film.
We want to make these movies and make these films that are beautiful and celebrate the culture, but we also want to train others to do that as well.
At our stage in life, we want to be imparting to others, to young people who, by and large, are really motivated here because their culture is focused on oral, visual transmission couched within the context of a relationship.
We also knew that this place in particular has a heart for Bible translation, and they said that they really wanted to learn media for the sake of communicating the Bible, especially to oral cultures.
I really wanted to, going into this project, give the students more opportunity to be the ones holding the camera.
And it's a really intense program. We stuff so much into this, and the program has only expanded.
And I love it when I can find at least one student who's really motivated, who wants to learn our craft and also wants to tell the gospel and learn about story structure and how to make things look beautiful.
Bill and I learned a little while ago that if we can put our cultural advisor through the program itself, they will be better equipped to do the job of being the cultural advisor when they get on the set. So Kareem came and he literally gone out and gotten a bunch of these testimonies from believers in the area. And the stories were so interesting. So I kind of just looked at all the stories and I looked at what were the commonalities, what were the felt needs, what were kind of the spiritual battles that the people seemed to be facing. And I looked at the things that I thought were interesting. There was one story of a woman who had a fight with her cousin. So I took that to be the inciting incident of our story about two brothers, one of whom, when he's very young, gets into a fight with his older brother and literally cuts him in the back. They created years of resentment where the older brother was always giving the younger brother a hard time to the point of seeking revenge. So basically this is a revenge story about forgiveness and the gospel. And it was fun because when we were filming it, I would ask him, you know this scene? They're like, yes, this is my story.
Africa has so many stories to tell, right? We've heard the American stories a lot of times. We've seen the World War II movies, we've seen the cowboys, we've seen, you know what I mean? How many stories have you seen from Africa? So I think it's exciting to come here and to give these students the ability to tell their own stories, to tell what God's been doing. So I think there's so much talent here that just really needs the educational element for it to spark. You're kind of just using their natural gifts and lighting a fire underneath it. And you really saw it with this group. They were engaged, they were focused, they were hungry to learn every day. I think that was just made it a great experience as a teacher.
One thing that I really appreciate is that there's a lot of back and forth with them. They don't just sit and take notes, but they have feedback, they have things that they want to say. When we ask questions, they have thoughts and discussion that's really lively, and so I've really enjoyed that about them.
And just because it's the best job in the world for me, doesn't make it easy. I mean, sometimes this job is hard, but hard things are worth doing. And that's the attitude that I think Bill and I have had from the beginning.
Why would I subject myself to, the adversities? And it's true. I think we're attracted to the hard things in life. And then I always see God showing up.
It was crazy that we filmed in this village that's the ancestral home of the Tem Kodakoli people. And this main actor, Fatu, was in that ancestral line. He's some royalty or something, but he's a Christian and he wants to see his people come to faith, and he's the main actor of our movie. That's wild.
So Sam and I had gone with Kareem to scout it the first day, and we were looking around and wow, this is a really authentic village. This is going to be amazing. It's beautiful. The lighting is great. There's this big baboa tree. It just had a lot of authenticity to it. So we were really excited to use it for locations.
Just working with Kareem was amazing. We got up to Tabalo, the village on top of the mountain, and Kareem steps out of the van and he says, Here, we're in yesterday's life. And I was like, Kareem, what do you mean yesterday's life? But what he meant was they're living in a very traditional style, and he went through great lengths in the movie to keep it yesterday's life.
A lot of what we would have to do is sitting with the tribal chief up there to, as Kareem called it, open the door. One of the times when we visited, they had a ritual that involved the sacred gin that they attempted to serve to all the Christians, most of whom were not prepared, much to his disappointment. Nevertheless, we did receive his approval.
If you can get a relationship going with the chief and you treat him like gold, he's warming up to the fact that this is his movie now.
So we'd look at a building, I would be like, oh, that looks like yesterday to me. And he'd be like, no, that's today. And then we have to shoot this way.
There's 3 worship scenes in this film, but we have one where the actors are singing a song in their local language, and it was so beautiful. Nevertheless, here I am, I'm on the set, getting a little choked up, going over and giving my gratitude to these people. And then I look over at Sam, the DP, I could see it in his face. But just there was something about it. It was so, I just think it was God. I think God was just, I love it when God does that. Like he just kind of shows up and there's a moment on that set where you're feeling God's pleasure.
It made me think a lot about culture, because what is culture? Where does it come from, right? It often comes from the past. It often comes from our traditions. And life is changing, right? There's cell phones in the villages, and the culture is being lost a little bit, right? And I think that Kareem really wanted to honor the culture, to have this authentic, undeniably Tem movie. I'm like happy about the film in that sense that it feels like you could find a film like that here, you know? But it also feels like it told a natural story at the same time, yeah.
So we're looking forward to finishing the editing, and they've already got a plan for how they're gonna distribute it. Judging from the response that we got just showing the insultingly bad rough cut that we made for the cast party, I think it's gonna be a big hit.
The thing I just really love is that we're here not just to make media, to come from outside and come in and make media and then leave. What I love is that we're here training people, because I think really these students are the ones who have the gifts and the access and the passion for their communities and the surrounding communities. And so I'm thrilled, honestly, with the students that we get to teach, and to think that this is a multiplying effect as we empower people with tools that they can use to communicate God's truth.
Do you need this or should I pick it up?